So if you've been watching my videos for a while now, you'll know that I like to explore coding alternatives in Godot, and not necessarily as a replacement for coding, but as an entry point for new developers who don't feel comfortable coding yet. And I still believe that if you truly want to learn game dev, you should learn it the right way, which is by writing text-based code like GDScript or C#. But then again, it's things like this that make game dev interesting to non-coders. Me, for example, I started with a game engine that required no coding, and frankly that's what got me into game dev. So we really had to start somewhere, and that's how I see this whole thing. Now, unlike the previous projects like Orchestrator and Codeblocks, which had their own editor inside Godot, this one requires Blender, yes, the 3D software. So the idea is that you make your game in Blender and Godot runs it. Yeah, that's pretty much the simplest way to think about it. Now, it's called Folded Paper Engine, developed by Papercraft Games. To get started, you have to download two add-ons, one for Blender and one for Godot. And that's it, I guess. Just go ahead and make your level in Blender. So here we are in Blender version 4.5 LTS. It doesn't seem to work with Blender 5 for now, unfortunately, so it is what it is. So I made this simple level here in Blender, and I haven't done anything with the paper engine for now. This is just your standard level in Blender. Now, all I've done here is I've made this ground a collision, and this is a Godot thing. It has nothing to do with the paper engine. If you just simply add -col next to the name of the mesh, it's gonna make it a collision object. Now, before that, make sure you have the Blender version of the add-on installed from the preferences menu. And let's go ahead and say we want to make this red guy here the player. Well, all we need to do is to check the player, and if you go to the Paper Engine tab, we can enable the third-person camera controls. Now, all you need to do now is to go to your exports menu and export as GLTF, and then choose where your Godot project is. And then I'm gonna go ahead and rename this to something I can remember. And here's the most important part. You wanna open up the Include tab and check all of these three data options. Otherwise, it won't work. And then go ahead and click Export. And that should be it for the 3D Blender side. Now, on the Godot side, you wanna make sure that you have this add-on installed, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to install it. You just want to go ahead and make sure you uncheck this option, otherwise it won't work. And then you want to go to your project settings under plugins and then turn it on, and that should be it. You should have the add-on enabled now. Now, to set up Godot, all we should need to do is to add a folded paper engine node to the scene, and they actually require you to add the environment node to the scene as well. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to click these three dots here, and I'm going to add environment to the scene. Now, if you click on the folded paper engine node, I'm going to go ahead and drag this environment node to the environment, and path is actually path to your GLTF file, which we made in Blender. So I'm going to go ahead and select this, and that's it. So if I go ahead and play this, we have our game set up correctly and it's working fine. Now, this seemed much easier compared to the previous no coding projects that I did, but we'll see if it's going to keep up when we scale up this game. But so far, I'm kind of impressed. So here in Blender, I've added these platform things just so we can have something to play with. But before we export this, I'm going to go ahead and increase the jump power in the player. I'm going to open the character tab here, and I'm going to increase the jump power to something like 5. And that's it. I'm going to export this again. And in Godot, it should just re-import automatically. And we can see that we have our new changes made to the level. And hopefully if I jump now, we should see a bigger jump. And yep, that's it. So let's go ahead and see if we can finish this level, hopefully. Now, you might notice this light intensity is really crazy in Godot, and to fix that, you just have to decrease the light in Blender. Now, I tried to make this game a little bit harder, and the goal is right now to reach this red platform up here, but we can never jump that high. So wouldn't it be cool if we jumped on this platform up down here and it went up smoothly? And I actually think this is the coolest part of this add-on. So I made these two animations. These are very simple animations I made with like 4 keyframes. And all I did was push them down and just give each one of them a unique name. So I'm going to go ahead and create a simple mesh like a cube, and I'm going to position it where we want the player to stand on to trigger this animation. So let's say we are happy with something like this, right? I'm going to click on it, press N, go to the items tab, and I'm going to enable invisible so we don't see this in the game, and I'm going to enable trigger. And then I'm going to go to the paper engine tab, I'm going to open trigger events, I'm going to create a new trigger, I'm going to keep it at enter and just give it a name. It can be anything, just remember what you call it. And after that, I'm going to go ahead and create a scene event. These are pretty much global. I'm going to call it the same name. And then after that, I'm going to open the commands menu, and you can make it do a lot of things, but we are worried about the animation. So I just happen to call the animation the same name, platform 1, but this could be anything else. Now I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this just because I have 2 platforms in the scene. And I'm going to position it where I want the player to be on that second platform, which is pretty much in the center. Now we don't want it to call platform 1 event anymore. I'm going to rename this to platform 2, and on the scene events, I'm going to go ahead and create another event. I'm going to call this platform 2. And just like before, I'm going to play the animation 2. Now, if you don't know where these platform 1 and 2 animations names are coming from, these are just the names that I've defined. You can call them whatever you want. And that should be pretty much it. Let's go ahead and export this and see it in Godot. So here it is. The game is running. Let's go ahead and get on that platform. And we can see that it's moving. And after we get off of it, it goes down automatically. The next platform as well. Right? Works fine. And I fell. So hopefully we can make it this time. And yep. So we can see that it wasn't really that hard, was it? Other than doing some keyframes and triggers, it really just worked itself. So that's why I think that's the coolest part of this engine. So just so we have something to finish the game with, I made this end screen scene. You see it's a separate scene in Godot. Now this could be your next level or whatever. Now even though this is a fully UI scene, you still need the folded paper engine node on it, and you still need to assign the environment and a scene to it. So I just went ahead and assign the level 1 to it, even though we're not going to use it. You can also make the UI entirely in Blender, but we're not going to do that for now. I'm going to go ahead and make it so that when we finish the game and reach this top platform here, we switch the scene to that end screen. Now you can see I've made a new scene trigger, and I've made it so that it would load another level. If you click browse, you can select your another level, and on the trigger events, I'm going to create a new trigger event and then call it end level. So let's go through the level again with my terrible playing skills, and if we go through that trigger, we should see the end screen in any time now. And there we go, we finished the game successfully. Now, just to make things a little bit more interesting, I went ahead and added some animations for the player. I mainly added the idle, walk, and jumping animation. And to add them, you're just gonna go ahead and put their names inside the character tab, and that should take care of it. And so now we have the idle animation, the walking animation, and my favorite one, the jumping animation. And you can see how that can easily give life to the game, but we're not done yet. There's one last thing I want to add. So I added these things that look a lot like apples. And so just so it feels a little bit more alive, I made it in spin animation so it doesn't feel totally boring. Now to make it work properly, you need to set it up as an inventory item. First, let's go ahead and make it a trigger. And on the inventory tab, let's go ahead and give it a name and a quantity of 1, and that should be it. So let's go ahead and scatter these around the scene, and let's export it to Godot. Now here first we need to add a node, and it's called FBE inventory config, and we need to add a inventory kind. So I'm going to go ahead and do it, and I'm going to set the ID to the same one in the Blender. The label is the same, it doesn't really matter. The plural label, it's going to be apples. And stack limit, I'm just going to go for something like 99. And let's go ahead and also define the player inventory size. I'm just going to stick with the default ones. And if you play this right now, we should be able to collect apples. But you can see there is like no way right now to tell how many apples we've picked up. And I found the inventory system to be a little bit abstract in this engine. Now to show the score, I added a label and attached the script to it. And so this is what I came up with. We're pretty much reading the first slot into inventory and showing it in the UI text. Now, I'm not an expert in this engine, but this is what I could find to make this thing work. Maybe there is an easier way that I'm not saying. Now, I get it. We did write some code. So this is not a fully no-code engine, but then again, this is still a work in progress, so I hope they make things like this a little bit easier in the future. And that's it, we can collect apples and it's gonna keep track of the amount that we've collected. We can finish the level, we can jump, we can move, we have moving platforms. We pretty much have a simple game mechanics. Now there is more. You can also add like conversations. You can like change the input system. You can make a first person controller. You can make the character hold items instead of just collecting them. But this is pretty much the whole idea, which I really like, and I really hope this improves, especially for new beginners, which are probably the most amount of users that are going to use this are probably going to be beginners. So that was it. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing and writing your thoughts in the comment section and liking the video. That really helps me continue what I'm doing here. And as always, I'll see you soon.